In this week's parsha, we see so much significance about the power of words. Words are so significant and comes from das. It comes from the innermost part of a human, which starts with chachma. Chachma is just the first thought that you have of any idea. Then comes bina. Bina is the level where you actually make sense of it and you bring it down to a place of reality. The next level would be das, when it comes to a place where it makes so much sense and you actually feel it and you connect with it emotionally. That's das. And that's when the rutzoin of a person engages, and that's when you have the power to bring it out lamasa. So one level of lamasa is dibur. You bring it out with words. Words are so significant and it has so much power. We know Yaakov Avini, all the tzaddikim in the previous generation and in today's generation, we see that the significance of words is the power that we have as Jewish people. As Jewish people, as a nation together, we have a power that nobody else can take over. Should it be the strength of any military, of any nation in the world, as we can see what's going on here in Eretz Yisrael, it's crazy because there's so many reasons why there should be hell loose. There's so many reasons that there should be a war going on all fronts. But because we have the power of tefillah, we have words, either in Tehillim, either in tefillah, in regular Shemona Esrei or davening, or just in simple words, in Yiddish, in English, and in your own perspective, in your own natural instinct, in your own way how you express your thoughts and emotions. That's the power that's much stronger in any power, in any military in the world, or anything that's going on, either here in Israel or in anywhere in the world. As we can see, things don't make sense, and it's the tefillahs that actually make the difference. If we have the power to believe and see with our own eyes of how strong tefillah is, how much more would we do it? How much more of an effect would it have on us, also in the world? Because when we actually believe in something, when we're doing it with so much more passion. So these times, as the days that we mourn on the Churban Beis Hamikdash, we mourn on something that we don't have. We mourn on a relationship that we have with Hashem, but we don't see it. It doesn't really make sense in full terms. It's only about believing. Yeah, sometimes we get to feel it, and sometimes we get to see it a little bit, especially on a holy Shabbos or on a holy Yom Tov, or just we have a good moment with Hashem. That's when we get to see this relationship in a deeper way, emotionally or even physically in a certain perspective. But it's always there. We just don't see it. And this is the point, what we're doing in these 3 weeks until Tisha B'Av. We get to mourn on something that we don't have, we don't see. It's always there. Hashem is always with us. He's always connected with us. We just don't always see it. But if we can take a moment and realize of what's missing and come to a place of realization that it's actually here, but I just don't feel it, but it's not how it's supposed to be. When the Beis Hamikdash is going to be built, hopefully very soon, Mashiach is going to be here, we're going to see Hashem in the flesh of our eyes. It's something that it's beyond our comprehension, but it's going to be, and this is exactly what's going to be all the time. These holy moments that you have on a Shabbos or on a Yom Tov, or just between you and Hashem, is what you're going to have all the time. Wouldn't that be so beautiful? So if we realize what's missing, we actually pray for it. And this is what we are in right now. These 3 weeks until Tisha B'Av, we are supposed to be in a place of honesty, not in a place of sadness, but rather in a place of being completely honest of what's actually missing. This is a fact. We have a relationship with Hashem. Hashem is right here next to me. Why don't I see it all the time? And if a person can get to a place where it actually bothers in a deeper way, then if you have the capability to bring it out in words and say and talk to Hashem in your own ways, that you want Him and you want to see Him all the time. And this is exactly what we're doing in these 3 weeks. We mourn on the Churban of Beis Hamikdash, but we ask Hashem to please bring it back as soon as possible. He wants it. We want it, at least in this very second when we're fully aware of it. Chaim Kodesh talks in this parsha something that happened between the Bnei Gad and the Bnei Reuven. They wanted to go in and fight with the Yidden to take over Eretz Yisrael, but they wanted to live outside of Eretz Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't really understand it, and he went into what seems to be angry on them. The Chaim Kodesh is just trying to explain it, and one of the things that he's saying, he brings that from the Rambam, Kol hanilcham b'chal liboy, v'choli ti kavanus l'Hashem shemayim. If a person fights with all his heart, he has no personal desire, he's all the way for Hashem. Kol kavanosoi lekadesh Hashem b'vad. Everything that he's doing in the fight, he's only having in mind, his only intention is towards Hashem only. Miftach loy, then for sure, yemotzaloi shim nezek, he wouldn't find any kind of damage. He wouldn't touch him anything bad, and he would merit to be in the coming world. Isn't that powerful? If we can come to a place and also realize that whatever I'm doing, I have zero control. Even the things that I think I have control, I don't have control. It's only Hashem that's giving me the power to believe that I have control. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. So what it comes down to is that ishtadlus is something that whatever I can still make sense of. After that, I trust all in Hashem. But it goes even deeper. Even the ishtadlus that I have right now, I know that it's also only coming from Hashem. It's also only Hashem. Even though this is what I could make sense of, maybe it's not Hashem, I know for a fact that it is Hashem. And therefore, I trust always in Him. So if a person can combine this, if you have the capability to combine these ideas, that your words come from your most inner parts of yourself, and these words actually have power, much more than any power in this world, any military power of any nation, it's beyond any comprehension of the human cycle, of the human mind. If we can take these words and talk to Hashem for a few minutes from a place of honesty and be in a moment of strictly intention for Hashem, because I know that Hashem knows what's best for me, and therefore I trust fully in Him, at least for this moment. Tomorrow is going to be for 2 moments, and then for an hour, and hopefully, with the help of Hashem, you'll be able to believe in Him all the time, even when you are fully connected in the regular worldly things. So if a person can sit down with himself and come to a place of meditation for just a few minutes and realize what we're actually missing, that there is a relationship, there is Hashem, and there's so much power with the words, with the thoughts, with so much that's going on we don't even know. If we can actually take a moment and realize of how much deeper our relationship with Hashem is, but we don't see it. So now in the 3 weeks where we mourn on the Churban of the Beis HaMikdash, if we can take this and realize what's missing in the relationship that we have with Hashem, and so much more that we don't even see, actually ask Hashem to please bring Mashiach for His own sake, for our sake, for the sake of the whole world. That's the point that we're mourning about in these days. Until Tisha B'Av, it's not a time of sadness, it's not a time of neglect, it's a time of realizing what's missing, it's a time of being honest and realizing that we have so much power, but we're so disconnected from it. There is so much significance in the relationship that we have with Hashem, but unfortunately, most of the time, we're not connected and we don't see it, and therefore we don't do it. So if we can take a moment and realize what's missing and mourn on it for just a minute, wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't you have a moment to actually bring Mashiach within yourself and ultimately have the power through these words to ultimately bring the Ge'ilah Kluli, the Mashiach, which is going to be soon, Mirz Hashem. Tzaddikim say that in today's generation, the little things that we don't even know, it seems to be so small, insignificant, is actually what Mashiach is going to come by. It's not going to be the big tzaddikim. Of course, it's all necessary. But what Mashiach is going to bring in this generation is the little things. You go out of your comfort zone and you take it a second, you go out and you do one tiny little thing, one more word to Hashem, one honest more thought or word towards Hashem, that's what will bring Mashiach. And imagine Mashiach comes tomorrow or today, and you realize, wow, it was just this word that actually got him here. In this power, we have the capability to bring Mashiach now. So it's one step at a time. And the goal is to bring in Hashem in everything that we have. And also, ultimately, at the same time, mourn in a way of having a desire to Mashiach. And this means that we actually get to see Hashem in everything that we're doing in this life. It's not something that we have the capability to understand, but therefore we ask Hashem, please surprise us. Bring us whatever you know is really best for us in the most loving ways possible, and let us enjoy the journey as well. L'chaim.